Take a look on page 214 and 215 in your book, if you would. There's comprehensive problem 4.1 and the comprehensive problem 4.2 there. These are really, really useful for you. These are a lot like the quiz problem, only more full-blown than that even. Not as many examples of adjustments, maybe. But what's going on in these two problems? They're both exactly the same. So you can work one, take your time maybe, and figure it out, and then work the other one at breakneck speed to make sure you really know what you're doing. Make sense? Anyway, and the answers are out there on Moodle, right? You can go look them up. Oh, by the way, you have a 3-day weekend, Doug. This is not a holiday. I would recommend that you take 1 hour and spend it with your family to celebrate Labor Day, and then the rest of the time, what should you be doing? Studying for all your classes. How many of you have given me 15 hours a week since we started? Some of you have. Some of you haven't. Catch up. Right? Catch up. You do. Right? It's what weekends are for in your career. Sorry, sometimes that's true. Right? Give me everything that I need to get done. I'm not in any trouble when it's not done. And you end up working on the weekend too sometimes. You do. Right? And that's how you get stuff done, is to do it. So, you know, when you got work to do, you do, guys. And so, when do you get to take a break? Christmas. Christmas. On real life, never, right? Kind of, you have to force the breaks. Take it like that. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. But that's why I like being a college professor. All you got to do is leave and I can goof off. It'd be great. Okay. I didn't used to do that, though. When I was a chair, I just worked all the time anyway. You know, there were things to get done. Couldn't get it done when you guys were here. So, yeah, you couldn't get everything done. So, you know, for now, just count on Christmas being a break, and then count on what's the next break? No, spring break's not a break. Summer. And you're not done with final. Summer. You know, the couple weeks of summer before you take your summer classes. Yeah, that's a break. And then there's a couple weeks at the end of summer before you start your fall classes. Sorry. Unless you don't go to summer school, then you can take 5 years to graduate. Suit yourself. But yeah, 6 or something. That's the way it's going to work. Anyway, these problems are great. Take the balance that we're starting with. That's the balance at the end of last year, right? Put them into accounts. That's what they're going to ask you to do. And then the first transactions, A through K, for instance, on the first problem, are source transactions that are happening. You know, they're transacting business. Record them, okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to add up the T account and find out what the balance is, right? That's the unadjusted balance that the author talks about. So you're just doing it yourself. Of course, there'd be a million transactions, not just those few, right? A real company, or whatever number they had. Okay, anyway, and then we have adjusting journal entries. So you take the balance from where it is to where you want it to be, right? Just to make the adjustments that we started doing last time. Did you notice last time that I only did a few problems? I'm not trying to show you how to do each one of the individual adjustments. What am I trying to do? Get you to know what you're doing. That's it. You can figure them all out. And we'll do more today. We'll do them faster. I can do them real fast. If I didn't talk at all, I could probably do this problem in 10 minutes and leave. Right? Wouldn't be any good. Right? Doesn't do you any good to do that either. Copy something or, you know, that kind of thing. Right? What it does do you good is to think about it, and then no matter what I throw at you, you can do it, right? You know what you're doing. As soon as you know how to record a cash revenue and a cash expense, which you already do, and you know how to record an accrued revenue and an accrued expense, which you probably know how to do, and you know how to record a deferred revenue and a deferred expense, which you're probably shaky on, right? Just getting going with it, right? As soon as you got those wired, you got it made. You got it made for this test, okay? You really do. Really, you kind of got it made for the CPA exam someday if you really have that stuff wired, okay? Really understand. How many of you feel real comfortable with like me to give you the test right now? None of you, of course. So what are you going to do over this 3-day weekend? What if at the end of the weekend you came in here and you knew just about everything you needed to know? Oh, by the way, there's a sample test out there. Could you start working on that test 1 through 4 while you're getting ready for the quiz on 3 and 4? Why not? What if after you take this quiz, you're ready for the test? We've covered all the material. All we're going to do after this quiz is what? Review for the test. What if you were already ready? Then you go to the review, or you watch it online if you can't make it to it. What do you think? You got it made, don't you? You got it made. Give me the time. and I'll give you your grade that you earn. Okay? Right? Sort of direct correlation there. It's terrible. You don't know what that means yet. The relationship between the variables. No, if you don't know what that means yet, your stat class will get it. Okay? I'm not going to do that today. All right, anyway. So, one thing I should mention is after you do it, well, obviously, after you've got the balances after adjustment, what are you going to do? Balance sheet statement. Don't do a cash flow statement. If it asks for it, don't bother. We're going to do that in a chapter later. I told you that, right? And also, they ask for some ratios at the end of this. Don't do the ratios either. We'll have a chapter where we do all the ratios. But read about the ratios in the cash flow if you go along. That's fine. Yeah, obviously. Okay? Anyway, and that's going to be it. And then what they're going to want you to do is do a closing entry. Don't do your closing entry until after you do your financial statements. Correct, guys? What's the closing entry? Make all the revenue expense accounts zero, right? And take the difference, which is the net income or the net loss, and do what with it? Add it to retained earnings. Make sense? Add the income to retained earnings or take the loss out of retained earnings. Now let's think about this. Can you close the books before you do your financial statements? No, because if you did that, what would happen? Your revenues would be zero, your expenses would be zero, you wouldn't have an income statement. So don't do that. But do you have to pick up the net income or the net loss and adjust retained earnings by that amount to make your balance sheet balance? Of course you do. Because what happens? I debit cash and credit revenues. I didn't change retained earnings, I changed revenues. Make sense? So I changed the balance sheet cash, debit cash, and I didn't change anything in retained earnings. We have to pick that up. That's all. Because debits have to equal credits, huh? Same with debit accounts receivable and credit sales, right? Same with debit unearned revenue and credit sales, right? I'm changing the balance sheet and the income statement both. So you got to pick up the impact on retained earnings. How about debit and expense account and credit cash? Debit salary expense, credit cash. Yeah, the expenses on the income statement, the cash is on the balance sheet. You better pick up the debit and retained earnings, huh? Well, just pick up the net income and add it to retained earnings. And you pick them all up. Got the idea? How about debit salary expense, credit salary payable? Same thing. One's on the balance sheet, one's on the income statement. How about debit salary expense and credit prepaids? Same thing. Okay, now some people, and how many people stayed with me for all of that? How many people stayed with me? Pretty close. Yeah. You don't have to raise your hand for this one. How many don't have a clue what I'm talking about? How hard you work really makes a big difference. Now, is it useful to show up for class if you haven't read the material and haven't done the homework? That's better than nothing. Right? If you had a job and you're totally unprepared for it, so at least you showed up.
Better than not showing up.
Yeah. How much better? Not a whole lot. A little bit. Still better. At least you might learn something while you're at work. You save your ass, right? Okay? Okay. So what do? Get to work, get to work, get to work, get to work. Come on. So I know we've been doing this a while. I know some of your other classes actually had to read a chapter by now, stuff like that. So, yeah. Actually, a lot of your classes asked you to do a whole bunch of stuff and then left you alone, didn't they? Mm-hmm. Have you been doing the stuff they suggested you do? It's a good opportunity over this weekend. Get caught up. If you got a book you're supposed to read and it's a couple hundred pages long and you haven't opened it yet, and you're going to write a paper on it, right? Midterm. I think it might be a good time to open the book. And maybe, see yourself. You can read it all the night before you write the paper. It'll be real fresh. That'll work out real well. I've done that. It doesn't work out real well. Okay, anyway, so then do your closing entry after you do the financial statements, okay? Make sure you can do all this stuff, right? Anyway, that's it. All right. It's not really hot. It's really water with nothing else added for flavor. My wife likes mine stuff. Gets me a lot of it. But it makes you feel really classy. It's French. Made in Michigan or something. Anyway, it is French. Okay, anyway, do those pops. Do yourself a favor. Let's try these. These are really fun. I think you'll like it. Michelle Company, an advertising, and we figured out, where'd my little thing go along the side?
Did you actually? There it is.
Oh, I don't have,
We got to pull it out, I think. That's just
I don't
pull
know.
it. Thing that's very far left. See how it kind of.
It just disappeared.
Yeah.
Right, just disappeared.
Yeah, see, it's kind of popping out a little bit.
Oh, this little guy.
Ah, there you go.
No, I don't. You know what? I might have just killed the. Let's see. Will it let me write on it? No. Try again.
Never mind.
Darn
Well,
it.
what's the thing that's very far?
That's Microsoft Ink. Oh.
Is it
Select
is it
tool.
behind the word?
It made you minimize the word.
Minimize the word.
Like, yeah.
There
There
it
it is.
Where?
On the left. The left.
Left bottom?
The, like, along the whole.
Oh, right there. How come it's not showing when I do the other stuff? We don't know.
It's more like a
But it's
Monday
there.
rather than a Friday.
You can make the word smaller where you can still see it.
Oh, we can
You
do
know what I
that.
mean?
That's a good idea.
I like how it works.
This should be slightly smaller. Now watch, look at it, about 1/3 this size.
It was actually just there.
And then you can.
Oh, was it just there on the whole thing again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It was in the background. That's what they call that, right? It's in the background where Richardson can't find it. Okay, anyway. So let's see if it actually writes now. No, of course it doesn't.
You're on the mouse.
You're on
That's
the
because I'm on the mouse. Okay, there we go. All right, and now I have to use this eraser. I figured that out last time, once I write on there. Okay, good. All right, Michelle Company. We're doing great. Michelle Company. It's Friday. We don't want to be here anyway. Yeah, that's the hard thing, you know. It's Friday, and, well, it's not that nice today, but it's pretty.
This is going to be an interesting recording.
Yeah, oh, the other one's probably bad too. So, yeah, I'll put them both out there. You can watch the one you didn't see. That's not a bad idea, by the way, right? Watch the ones for the other class instead of yours, because they do things differently different times. So if you were here and you're going to watch it and spend your time doing that, don't watch what you already saw. Watch the other one. You think? I'll put them both out there. Why not? Or just watch it now and never watch it again. That's better yet. I like that idea. That's what I do. Okay, if you know it, you know it. I don't care how you get there, really. I don't. Okay, anyway, this is an advertising firm. Completed these transactions. Okay, so here they are. The year ends December 31st. Is that important? Yeah, because that's when I'm going to do my adjusting journal entries is year end. It says they only prepare financial statements at year end. Is that important? Sure. If it said monthly, I'd have to do them every month, wouldn't I? Right? So, yeah. So once a year. Prepare appropriate journal entries. Okay, so the first of these are just source journal entries. On January 31st, they purchased equipment for 35 grand, paying 10,000 down and signing notes for the remainder. And they're going to tell you about the interest and the payments on the note, and they're going to tell you about how long the equipment's going to last and stuff, and its salvage value, and what depreciation method you're using. But do I need any of that yet? When do I have depreciation? As time goes by. That's reflecting using it up, right? When do I have interest expense? As time goes by, right? I owe more interest. I incur interest expense. So what do I have so far? Just the first part, which would be what? This entry you've done over and over. What do we do? Debit equipment. Yeah, let's do this quick. Okay? I don't know why I did that. Okay, so equipment. 35 grand maybe?
Yeah.
What do you want to credit?
Cash.
Cash, how much?
10.
Then what else do you want to credit?
Payable the rest.
That's fair. Good. Should be just that fast. Moving, right?
Yep.
Points, guys. That's points. It's probably a point and a half or something stupid. Right? Yeah, I don't know how many there are. All right. Purchase supplies for 2,000 cash. Supplies put in the storeroom. There are already supplies out there. 500 are out there. Okay, what's the deal? I had 500. I buy what?
2,000.
2,000 more. How many do I have now? 2,500. No kidding. Okay. What do you want to do? Debit what?
Plus.
Supplies what?
Inventory.
What, expense or inventory? Inventory, I like that better, okay? I think I'd put them in supplies inventory. If you put them in supplies expense, you could still do the adjusting entry at the end, and I'd take it too, by the way, if you did them both right, okay? But supplies inventory probably, 2,000? What did I give them for it?
Cash.
Credit. What if I bought them on account? Credit accounts payable. Then what would I do when I pay the account payable?
Payable on cash.
Debit accounts payable, credit what? Cash. Everybody staying with me? Can you think this fast? Can you work this fast? Of course you can. You're intelligent people, right? You can. Okay.
Was it 2,500 or is it 2,000?
2,000. Oh, come on. I had 500 I started with, right?
Oh, yeah.
I bought 2,000 more. I have 2,500. What would be in the T account? You know I'm kidding when I said that, right? I do that with the 6-year-olds too. It's just hilarious. I was telling them, good man, each one of them, good man, good man, good man. And some kid looks at me and says, why are you calling us good men? You know, I said, well, aren't you a little man? I guess. Aren't you doing good things? I don't know. Yeah. So, yeah, you are. That's what I meant. Good man. Okay. Supplies inventory. So I mean to them too. Okay. Anyway, so what's the deal? It's really fun. It's so cute. What's the deal here? Start with 500. How much you just add? 2,000. How much is in the account? 2,500. So it's the 500 would already be there, right, from last year. Got it. Okay. Cool. All right. So then we paid rent for the month of March. It's March's rent. What date is this thing? March 31st. We're recording March's rent on March 31st, and we are paying March's rent on March 31st. What do you want to do? Record it. Debit what? Why? I used it up. Okay, so it's going to be debit rent expense. I think so. What are we going to credit? I have an important message.
Oh, you do?
Probably reminding me to leave. Yeah. My daughter, my granddaughter. My granddaughters have really bad allergies, so they're in this fundraiser thing, whatever, charity thing, and raising money for allergies research. But anyway,
What kind of allergies?
seeds and nuts, which means everything.
Well, I'm
You know, anything that's cooked and anything. Yeah. So.
Tucking in our allergies.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, so many of you can relate to that. People think there are more allergies around now. I think we just died from them before, you know, and we're miserable. And, you know, now we try to actually do something. Yeah, but yeah, maybe. Not much can be done, I guess. But anyway, the cool thing is Reese is going to throw in the baseball at the game tonight for the bats.
Really?
And she's like about this tall, and her wrists might be this big, and then her legs are like that. I mean, just little scarecrows. They were premature, and so they're pretty tall, considering how skinny they are. But anyway, they're twins, so they'll both go out there. The one with the guts today who's going to throw it in. Unless she chickens out, nobody will know her sister did it, right? They're twins, so that's going to be fun, the ball game. So it's probably about that important thing. Probably should check that instead of doing this for you guys. Okay, debit, rent expense, and credit what? Cash, absolutely. Okay, tell me what you'd have done if they used up the rent this month, but they don't pay it till next month. What would you debit? Do you debit? Rent expense. It's rent expense because you used up. And credit what? Rent payable, absolutely. And then what would you do when you pay it the following month?
You put it
Debit rent payable and credit cash. Okay, how about if this was paying April's rent? And you pay it March 31st?
Prepaid, right?
Debit prepaid rent expense. You got it. Don't just call it prepaid expense, though. Somebody did that in the other class, too. Because there's prepaid salaries, prepaid rent, prepaid interest, prepaid taxes. So we label it a little better than that. So you debit prepaid rent, and then we can assume it's expense if you want. Or you can put the word expense on there if you want it. Okay, everybody good? Right? And then what would you do the following month at the end of April when you used it up? What does it become when you use it up? You credit the prepaid rent because it's gone, and debit what? Rent expense because you used it up. Absolutely. Right? The only three possibilities is cash now, cash later, cash in advance. Right, guys? We can handle all of them, can't we? So that was done. Okay, provide advertising services for clients, 130,000, 80 on account, cash for the remainder. What do you want to do?
You receive cash.
Okay, and that's an asset, and you have more. Good. Let's do the easy part. Why not? I always like to do the easy things first. Okay, then what else?
Accounts receivable.
They're going to pay you later, so you have an account receivable, don't you? Everybody agree that's an asset? They're going to pay me later. I'm going to get cash next month or sometime from them. Okay, 80,000. So I got 130 credit I need. What is it? What did I do? Why did they owe me money? Why did they pay me money?
For advertising services.
Because I provided advertising services, and that is how I generate my revenue. So what would be a really good name to call this advertising revenue thing?
Revenue
Revenue
expense.
expense.
Revenue
What is that?
Advertising.
He's going to write down revenue expense on his quiz. This, okay, you're making it hard. Now, what is this stuff? It's advertising revenue. I am going to call advertising revenue because that is what it is. If I was renting property to somebody, what would I call it when I earn rent revenue? How about if I was selling, I don't know, utilities to somebody, electricity or something? Utility revenue. How about if I was buying utilities and using them up, what would I call it? Utility expense. What if I was buying this advertising and using it up? Advertising expense. What if somebody owes me advertising? I could call it advertising receivable or accounts receivable, more likely. What if I owe somebody for advertising? Could be advertising payable or more likely, probably they just call it accounts payable. You guys getting the idea here? We're making it up. That's why I like this stuff. I get to make everything up, whatever I want. Actually, with you guys, it's really cool because I can make up anything I want and you think it's true. You find out later I was full of shit, but it's okay. By then you're in 211 or something. Oh no, 212. 211 you have me again, so yeah. I don't want you to find out yet. So let's call it advertising credits. Good. It's real flexible though, right? Okay, on May 30th, we got 60,000 from customers that we previously did on account. So we're probably collecting some of that receivable, aren't we? We got cash, debit. Can you see how people wipe out in my classes early? And if you don't have debits and credits now, you're in trouble. It's over. It's just over. I can say that to you guys, those people aren't here today. It's true. There's only a few people gone. I bet it's over. And it's sad. Anyway, there's one person who took the quiz. Only one, though. One person took the quiz and hasn't picked it up yet. What do you think? Really? They're dropping. Okay, anyway, credit, I bet. Credit what?
Accounts receivable.
Okay, yeah, because you don't have that asset anymore. These are easy so far. Let's get to the harder ones. Paid insurance is $6,000. The insurance is 1 year starting July 1st. Okay? It doesn't start until tomorrow, so we haven't used any yet. What do you want to call it? Prepaid insurance. Yes, prepaid insurance. So you can put prepaid insurance expense if you want. Yeah, we know that's not used up yet, right? If it says prepaid on it. Credit what? What do you give them? Cash. Is this a deferral or an accrual expense? Which one? Deferral or accrual? Which one? Did you put the expense off, or did you record it even though you haven't paid for it yet? It's a deferral. Yeah, prepaid's a deferral. I'm putting off the expense, not the cash. And what we want to do in our brain, right, is say, oh, no, I got the cash. It must be an accrual. Okay, I'm recording the expense later, right? I'm deferring recognition of the expense. Unearned revenue is also deferral, right? Deferring recognition of revenue. You get the hang of that. It's not critically important, but it's nice to know as we go along. Question over here.
Yeah, on E, how's an account receivable if they already received it?
Oh, what do we do? What do we do when it was on credit basis on account? What do we do when we sold it to them? We debited accounts receivable and we credited advertising revenue. Now when they pay us, we don't have more advertising revenue, right? We already recorded that we earned it. What we don't have anymore is the receivable. So I'm going to debit cash and credit the receivable. That clicking?
Yeah.
So what you got, for just those two transactions for accounts receivable, we put 80 in, and then we took 60 back out. If that was my only receivable, they'd still owe me 20. Got it? Okay, good question. That's great. Always ask, always ask, always ask. When you go to work, always ask, right? You might need to make a list. You know, you move through your career, you might need to make a list that's 5 pages long of things you're going to ask, because you only get to see your boss every once in a while. And then when you see, I used to do this, I worked as a financial vice president for a guy that was a land developer, and he'd be like, oh, geez, 7 o'clock at night, you got 5 pages. And I said, well, you refuse to talk to me, right? So sit down, and we'd sit down, we'd have a beer. I'm not kidding. Did I tell you about that office? It's really cool. We were on this lake in Bellevue, Washington. Bellevue is a big city that nobody ever heard of, right next to Seattle. Across the lake, Seattle area is really gorgeous. You go visit sometime if you haven't. And there's just water everywhere. Commuting's kind of hard, yeah, but there's water everywhere. Anyway, there's a bridge between Bellevue and Seattle. We're in Bellevue, and we're on a little lake, a smaller lake. There's lakes everywhere there. And we had built a it was a land developer, and we built a condominium office project there, and then built other things around, apartments. And then on the other side of the lake, there was this really nice restaurant bar, right, over there, and there'd always be people out on the deck having music and eating and having fun, and you could smell the food coming across. It was horrible. And I'd be in my office working, but I also had a deck off my office, and we could sit out on the deck, with lawn furniture and stuff, and get paid for it, and get paid well for it. So life could be pretty good. So he always had really good beers, so we'd get the beer out of the refrigerator, or out of the office refrigerator. You have a beer whenever you wanted, but you didn't until it got late. So we'd have a couple beers together, and we'd go through the list, right? My point is, you write down all your questions, right? You don't just hope you remember them. And then you ask, and never ask the same question twice, because you wrote down what the answer was, right? And your list might get smaller, but maybe not, because you keep getting more and more responsibilities, so there's always something else to put on the list. That's all right. So that's really good. You ask a question if you don't know. Always do that. Discipline yourself. You don't just let it go. Ask. Okay. Paid the first payment on the January 31st note. Things are getting easy. They're getting harder. What do we do? I don't know. How much is the payment?
It's on a.
Didn't you guys read? Yeah. How much is the payment? Way too far. There it is. 35,000 was the amount paid, but it's 10,000 down, and the amount they're going to pay. So how much do they owe? 25. Well, how are they going to pay it?
2 times call.
12.5 twice plus interest at 6% per annum is what, per year?
Yeah.
Payments are every 6 months. Okay, so what happened? 6 months have gone by, haven't they? It's January 31st. What's the day now? July 31st. How many months is that? That's 6, right? February, right? You don't count January. January 31st. February, March, April, May, June, July. 6 months, isn't it? So how much are you going to pay them? That's all we have to know. And then we're going to record it. So I'm making the first payment on that. How much am I going to pay them? How much do I have borrowed? 25,000. What's the interest rate for a year?
6%.
How much is that? $1,500, I think? Know what that is? It's 25 times 6. 150, 90, 1,500, isn't it? But that'd be a whole year. How much time's go by? 6 months. So it's only 3%. So 6/12. So how much is that? 750. So what am I going to pay him? 12,500 plus 750. Of course. What's that? 13,250. What am I going to pay him with? Cash. So just let yourself think, you guys. As these get a little more complex, they're not really. This takes a little bit more thinking. Okay, what am I paying off? Half the note payable. How much is that? 12,500. What's the balance in notes payable now? They had a credit balance of $25,000 and you debit it for 12,500. What's there? 12,500, of course. Okay, and we'll get rid of that in the next payment, won't we? All right, guys. What do you want to debit for $750 in there? Interest, and it's expense. It's not payable because we never accrued it yet. We did not accrue it. Okay? So $750 debit interest expense, don't you suppose? It's easy. That's the cost of borrowing the money, which is one of the costs of getting the piece of equipment, and we are using the piece of equipment to generate revenues. So this is interest, and it's a cost to generate revenue, so it is interest expense. Everybody got the idea? That's the thought process. You can figure any of this stuff out. Okay, on October 4th, they received advance payment of $40,000 from clients for services that will be delivered later. What's that going to be, everybody? What do we get? Do the hard part. They have a prepaid. We have unearned revenue. What did we get? Cash. They paid us cash, you guys. They advance payment. I think that's cash. Okay, and they have a prepaid. What do we have? Unearned revenue. We haven't earned anything, have we? So we're not going to give them the cash back. So it's not some sort of a payable. What is it? Unearned revenue, right? We own the work. So what kind of revenue is this? Advertising? How about unearned advertising revenue? You like that? Again, what kind of an account is that thing, everybody? Liability. Yeah. What am I going to do as I deliver the advertising services now for that $40,000? Becomes earned. So credit what? What do you do when you earn advertising revenue? Credit advertising revenue, right? What would you debit though if you earn this one? Unearned advertising, because the liability gets satisfied by doing the ads, right? Running the ads form, okay, or preparing or whatever you're doing. Okay, let's do the next one. Employees have earned, oh, by the way, these are starting to say December 31st. Those are probably going to be adjusting entries because it's the end of the year, right? We're probably not adjusting entries. However, anything before that can't be an adjusting entry, right? Because it's not when you're doing a financial statement, right? When you do adjusting journal entries, when you're going to do financial statements, why adjust the books if you're not doing a statement? Who cares what the balance is unless you're doing a statement? That makes sense? That saves you a lot of work, okay? I don't have to every day record interest expense. I can do it just when I make a payment or at the end of the period, right? The only times I'm going to do it. All right, anyway, employees have earned $35,000 and have not been paid to record. What do you want to do? They earned them, so what do I have? My employees work for me and they earned their wages.
Wage expense.
Wage expense. So it could be wages, maybe salaries, right? Wages and salaries, wages or salaries, you can use either one. Expense, right? Why is it an expense? I used up their work in an attempt to generate revenues, right? What do you want to credit? If I paid them, I credit cash. If I had paid them last month, what would I have done last month? I would have debited prepaid salaries, right? And credited cash. And then this month when I use it up, I debit salary expense and credit prepaid salaries. True? Okay? But that's not what happened. I'm going to pay them later. So what is it? Not accounts payable, though.
Wages.
Probably wages and salaries payable, or wages payable, or salaries payable, or whichever one it is. By the way, wages is when they work for me hourly. My employees do. We call it wages. When they get a salary so much per month, that's called salary. Got it? Both cases, expense and payable. Okay? It's easy, isn't it? Keep working. If it's fuzzy, or if you feel a little lost, work, and you won't feel that way. That's the way I motivate myself to do anything. I like to know what I'm doing. It makes me real comfortable. Not knowing what I'm doing is real uncomfortable. I prepared for football practice yesterday because my son-in-law wasn't there. And I was going to run football practice with 6 and 7 year olds. I prepared. Thank God I prepared. They're just running all over the place. Totally out of control. But I talk to them just like I do you. 6 and 7 year olds, they get shaken, yell at them. Their parents are over there cringing. Yeah, it's funny. Sitting on their lawn chairs. So, it was pretty fun. Counted the supplies on hand and computed their cost to be $7. Okay, what do you want to do? What do we already know about those supplies, you guys?
2,500.
We know there's 2,500 there. So let's go back up to that. Okay, we got 2,500 in supplies inventory here, don't we? What do you think is left now? 700. What do you think is not left? What's not still there? 1,800. What do you think the 1,800 must have? What it must have happened to the 1,800? You used it up. What do you call things you used up? Expenses. What would be a really good name for supplies you used up? Supplies expense. How are you going to increase that account with a debit or a credit? Expense. Debit. What do you want to do to supplies inventory seeing as you don't have the inventory anymore? Credit for 1,800. That's going to allow us to go from 2,500 down to 700. What are you going to put on your balance sheet? The 700 you have, right? What are you going to put on your income statement? The 1,800 you used up. That's all we're doing, okay? We're just trying to represent economic reality, if there were such a thing, but to the extent possible, okay? So here we go. What do you want to debit, everybody? $1,800 was credit what?
Supplies inventory.
Use the word inventory instead of just supplies, if you would, right? Just so we know we can tell supplies expense from supplies inventory. No confusion. All right, good. We completed 25,000 of the work that we got paid for in H. That was that unearned revenue. So now you've earned it. What do you want to do? Oh, you think your customer's going to pay you in advance and then pay you when you do the work too? Wouldn't that be cool? They aren't doing that. Debit the unearned revenue. You satisfied the liability, didn't you, by doing the work? Everybody good?
Yeah.
Debit unearned advertising revenue. What was it? 25,000?
Yep.
What's the balance in unearned advertising revenue now? You know, if you put 40 in here, then you took 25 out, what's left in there? 15. Where's that going to go? On the balance sheet, you still owe 15,000, right? It was paid for in advance and you haven't delivered it yet. Okay, what are you gonna credit? I earned it, what do you wanna call it? Advertising revenue. What are the three ways you can earn or three time periods you can earn advertising revenue? You now, before, get paid later. What would it be now? It would have been the one we had up here. I had to do one, didn't I? Debit cash and credit advertising revenue. There it is, isn't it? What if I'm going to get paid later? Debit accounts receivable and credit advertising revenue. Right? What do I do then with receivable? I get paid. Debit what? Cash, credit the receivable. And then what's the other possibility? They could pay me in advance. That's what this one was, right? Debit cash, credit unearned revenue. And then when I earn it, what do? Debit advertising revenue, unearned advertising revenue, and credit what? Advertising revenue. Do you see why it might be useful to know the difference between all these things, what they mean? Okay, good. Now we get to some really, well, this one's not too bad. The last two are tough. December 31st, do we need an entry relating to the insurance in F above? What's F? Oh, the prepaid insurance. That's this one. Debit, prepaid insurance, credit, cash. Do we need to do any adjusting entry on that? What was the date of that entry? June 30th. It was June 30th. There it is. That's June 30th. Okay, so, okay, whatever. Now I get it.
I think you switch back over to the,
Yeah.
you're not on the same anymore.
Let's do it this way. Like that. I confuse the hell out of it. Ah, crying out loud. Settings, this one?
Click on the pen. I don't need for you.
Click on the pen. Oh, you know what? I might have to have that setting down. That might be what's doing it.
If you go up to the top by where it says Microsoft Teams, click on the recording.
Yeah.
You guys can do that.
And nine.
Yay! Thank you. All right, good. It's ridiculous. Okay. I could have designed it better. You just have to think like I do, and it'd be perfect. Now I should be able to do that again, right? Yeah. Now I did it again. I'll never stop. It's a continuous loop. Yeah. All right. Do we need an entry for the insurance? What do you think, you guys? How much insurance do we have? I hear a no. At least he's got courage. How many no's? We got two of them. Two people with courage. How about three of them? Three no's. How about yes? We have a few more of those, some more with courage. The rest of you don't know what the hell you're doing and aren't paying any attention, obviously. It's one or the other.
Still left over, right?
Okay, what happened? We bought prepaid insurance June 30th. Every day that goes by, what happens? You use it up. It starts July 1st. So should I have a journal entry for the portion I used up? Yes. What's it going to become as I use it up? So you guys didn't know what you were doing, but at least you had courage, right? Two of you. Okay, so debit, that's better than not having any courage, right? I'd rather be courageous and wrong, right, than terrified and right. Terrified and right, nobody finds out you're right. At least we find out they have courage. Don't know anything, but okay, anyway. So what do? Debit what? I'm using it up. What does it become as I use it up?
Expense.
Yes, insurance expense. Excellent. What am I using up? The prepaid. So what do you want to reduce? The asset prepaid insurance, don't you? All I got to do is figure out how much I used up. Okay, how long is the insurance policy for?
Year.
1 year. When does it start? July 1st. I bought it June 30th. What's year end? December 31st. How much time has gone by? 6 months. And the policy was for 1 year. How much have you used up? Half of it. 6/12. That's it. It's $3,000. So what you've got is prepaid insurance of 6,000. How much should the prepaid be at the end of the year? Only 3, so take 3 out, credited, right? How much should be an expense if you used up half of it? 3. So how do we get it to be that way? Debit insurance expense for 3, credit prepaid insurance for 3. You like that, everybody? Easy, but sure you used up some of it, okay? Yeah, you still have some too, though, right? That was a correct intuition. Okay, now it gets hard. The debt above. What's the journal entry for the debt above?
We still have 1250 for notes payable.
They still owe 12,005 on notes payable, right? Because notes payable was like this. We put 25 grand in it, didn't we? And then we paid off 12,500 of it with that later journal entry. That's this one right here, right? Okay, so how much is left? 12,500. So how much interest are we going to have? By the way, are we making a payment at December 31st? Nope. We made a payment July 31st, didn't we? 6 months later is going to be when? January 31st. So we borrowed the money January 31st. It was for 1 year, right? 2 payments. So the next payment's not going to be until January 31st. So what are we going to do at December 31st? Time went by. What do we have every day, guys? Interest expense. But this time we're not going to be paying it. So what do we have at the end of the year? Interest payable. Yes, exactly right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to debit interest expense, everybody. That makes sense?
Mhm.
For the expense, for the amount of interest I incurred this year, right? In the rest of the year. Okay? And since the last payment, which was at July 31st, right? Okay? And then it's not going to be cash because I'm not paying it. It's going to be interest payable, right, guys? Because I owe it. And it's interest, so I call it interest payable. How much? How much did I borrow? 25,000 or 12,500? 12,500, not 25. Why is it only 12,500 now? You paid 12,500. I borrowed 25, but I repaid 12,500 of it, so I only owe 12,500. I'm not going to pay interest on 25,000 anymore, are you? If I only owe them 12,500, right? So what's the interest rate for a year? 6%. What would that be? $750? Oh, but it's only half because you think it's 6 months? I don't think it's 6 months, though. It's 5. So. We made a payment July 31st. That's what made this one really hard. Everybody misses it, right? I do one of these. So don't, right? Giving you guys real advantage here. I'll give you some other twist to make it hard. Don't worry about it, okay? I can come up with something. So what do we have? We have a payment July 31st. How many months went by? August, September, October, November, December. 5 months. So it's not 6 months interest. What is it? 5 months. So what you would do is you'd figure out what a year is, which I think is 12,500 times 6% is how much?
My final one.
That's 750. My final answer is yes. And then divide that by 2 to get half a year if you want, but I don't want to do that. I'd divide it by 12 and take it times 5. What number did you get?
$288.46.
That doesn't sound right. 12,500 times 6%. What's that? That would have been a year. Yeah, 6% was the interest rate, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Come on, you guys. We're supposed to be leaving. Come on. We got to get out of here. We got one more to do. 312.50. It would have been 750 for a year, right? And then you divide that by 12, and you find out what it is per month. What's that? 62.50. I'm not computing it. I'm remembering. Okay, 62.50 times 5, right? 312.50 for 5 months. I think he's right. I think that's right. You must have hit a key wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so 312.50. So debit interest expense $312.50. Credit interest payable $312.50. Okay. All right. One more, and then we'll do one other thing. You guys don't have any lives. We're not running over yet, are we? Only 1 minute. It's not over yet. Yeah, good. Okay, do we need an entry for the equipment above? How about, yeah, we appreciate it. Every day that goes by, some of it gets used up. What do we call using up equipment, trying to generate revenues using it? It's called an expense named depreciation expense. Great, guys. Okay, that's true. And I don't credit the equipment because it's not really going away. Its utility value is going away. So I keep track of how much I've used up in an account named accumulated depreciation, which is what kind of an account? Contra asset. What I'll do is I'll take equipment less accumulated depreciation, and that's my book value on my equipment. Right, guys? Okay, and we'll have a whole chapter where we do this stuff. How much is that one gonna be? What do we pay for the equipment? $35,000. But what is there on the equipment? That's the cost. What is there on that equipment? Well, the interest is interest expense. There's gonna be depreciation. Oh, it's gonna be worth $2,000 at the end of its life, so we're only gonna depreciate it down to $2,000. So what's my depreciable value, we're gonna call this later? 33,000. I'm only gonna depreciate 33 because I wanna stop when I get down to 2, because I'm gonna sell it for 2 at the end. You got the idea? And I know this is way beyond anything we've done, but that's good, right? Just to think. How many years is the life of this thing? 6. So in a full year, if I divided the life of 6 years in there, how much depreciation would I get for each year?
5,500.
Yes, it's $5,000, $5,500. But is this a whole year? No. That's the most common error. People just plug 5,005 in there. They did a good job, right? They know what they're doing, and they'll do that. It's still wrong. Okay, what's the deal? How many months is it from January 31st? Not 5, because we didn't make any journal entry up to 6 months, did we? So it's 11, isn't it? So we bought it January 31st, and we held it to December 31st. So next year it'll be 5,500, right, for a full year. This year, what's it going to be? 5,500 times what? 11 12. So divide 12 in, take it times 11. How much is that?
5,041 and 67 cents.
Yeah. That'd scare you to death if you got this problem, wouldn't it? Couldn't possibly be that number, for sure it is. Okay? We don't have to make every problem come out even, 4, especially when I write it myself. Okay, I want you to do one more thing. Let's assume that it is now January 31st, and we are going to pay off the rest of the debt. That other $12,500 of debt that we owe, we're going to pay it off. What would the entry look like? Can you do that? Give me the entry. What would that journal entry be? Pay off the $12,500. I borrowed 25. I paid back 12,500. This is what I was looking for, but I didn't have it out there anymore. All right. What's your journal going to be? Well, let me help you a little bit. The note payable started at 25,000. We made a payment of 12,500, right? That's the principal payment. We have 12,500 left in there, so that's on our balance sheet. Do we have interest payable? Yeah. We left $312.50 in there, didn't we? So that's what I've got on there, okay? So what am I going to do? I'm going to pay it off, aren't I? So at January 31st, if I paid it off, if I added that one for you, what are you going to pay it with? Cash. What are you paying off? You're going to get rid of the interest payable. Okay. So let's figure it out. How much is the note payable? 12,500. How much is the interest payable you have recorded? So that'll make this 0, right? 312. Good. I'm not done though, am I? Because how much interest am I going to give? Let's see, it's 12,500 debt, right? 6% interest would be a year. We said that was what? 750? And what portion of the year is this? It's a whole half year. 6 months, it's not 5 in 6 months. This is only 5 months interest. We need another month, don't we? So it's good. So you could just calculate 1/12 of that amount. That'd be fine. Or you can take 6/12 of it and figure out how much you pay, which of course is $375, is it? Yeah. So the amount of cash I'm going to give them is $12,500 plus $375. You guys agree with that? $12,875. Is that right?
Yeah.
So how much additional are we paying them? 1 month. It's $62.50, isn't it? That's 1 month's interest, isn't it? Right, guys? 1/12 of the $750, I guess. Okay. Yeah. What is that stuff? It's more interest, right? But it's interest for this year. It's interest expense. Absolutely. Whoever said that, good for you. Can you do this stuff? Probably. Most of you. Can you do it fast? How long would I think it was going to take you to do that question? How many questions are on this quiz? 5. It's one of them. How many points was that? 15 points. Okay, it's 15 out of 30, so it's a long one, right? 15 out of 30 is long. 15 out of 30, so how long would that take you if I'm giving you a half hour to do a quiz? 15 minutes. Maybe 20 on a quiz, huh? Maybe I give you 20 minutes for that in a quiz. How long on a test? 10. You do all that in 10 minutes? Of course, you just go through and write down the answer. It's a big deal. You don't have to think about it or anything because you know what you're doing, right? You guys have a really nice 1 hour break for the holidays. The rest of the time, work, work, work. I want your parents and your friends to think you have gone nuts. What's wrong with you? Where'd my friend go? Where'd my child go? That's what I want for you. I'm anti-social, so you do this too, right? It's easier for me.